I would start this message with a greeting of peace, but this also was not peaceful, and this may even be more hostile than my last one. I meant to do a recording on the Bedouin as a lesson for us, and I've talked about it before. Of course, I got a comment, why would you talk about the Bedouin? It ain't got nothing to do with us. No, it does. There's a lesson we can learn from them. The Bedouin not a role model, and of course, not even close to every Arab is a Bedouin, but the Bedouinism is the heart of the Arab culture. And I shouldn't even say culture, because there's more than one, but that's the heart of the Arab cultures, I should say. The Bedouins and the Bedouiyah, but the division between the city dwellers and the Bedouins has been around since Muhammad's time, peace be to him. So, at the end of the day, there are lessons we do have to take from other people. If you want to know how to tick off God, offend him, blaspheme against him, and then enshrine that as culture and religion, look at the story of the children of Israel. That's your example right there. Moses came to them, they disbelieved. Jesus came, they outright, hell, they sold him out to the oppressors. So the thing is this, there's a lesson now to be learned. And I'm recording this partially because I actually think that the three that I'm about to talk about may have become subscribers to this channel. At my job, there are three of them. Now, instead of referring me to my black nickname, they decided to change the black part to white as a joke. Then ask me why I'm racist. You know that typical white gaslighting stuff. Only this time it's coming from Arabs who think they're white, not from actual white people. So he decided to do this. Thinking they funny, thinking they slick, thinking they sharp, class clown type stuff. Always trying to clown you in front of somebody else, get people to laugh. That's major nigger business right there. Now, from this point, my voice might be a bit further away because it has to be, because I need my hands free to do some other things. I'm not holding the microphone towards me now. So, they kept doing this, and it was a joke, really. I wasn't going to get upset over a joke, but they kept on with the same joke, and then they began to interrupt my classes to come in and say hello, but to still crack that joke. I mean, how do you say to someone that you know who a particular digital identity is in real life, but you're not going to tell them? Then you call that person who you're not going to tell who it is by that same name. So what's the deal? Is it me or is it somebody you know that you're protecting? You can't have it both ways. I mean, if you knew who Blackheart is in real life, and then you tell Professor X, oh, I know who Blackheart is. But then you go to Professor X every day, hey, Blackheart, how's Blackheart doing? Well, which one is it? Am I him or somebody else? See how stupid that sounds? That's what these guys are doing. So I nicknamed them the Three Stooges. They came in one day to the classroom, and I already had search results ready on the projector for the Three Stooges. All I had to do was turn the projector on, and it came on. And so I did. They came in, and before they even got across the classroom, I already had the projector showing some videos of the Three Stooges. Larry, Curly, and Moe. And the students that were in my class saw the projector. They were facing the other way, so my students started laughing. And then the Three Stooges looked to see what they were laughing at, and there were the Three Stooges on TV. So I got them back with a little joke, but the thing is that these three have become disrespectful towards every teacher. And in true Bedouin form, they cannot accept correction for the fact that they've been disrespectful. So what they've done is, instead of just admit that they're disrespectful little bastards, they have to turn around and act like they're not disrespectful, like we're just somehow, we're just taking it too seriously. We have no sense of humor. You know, typical nigga shit. But they can't take correction because Bedou are like that. They're always right, and whoever disagrees with them is always wrong. That's the attitude they should have had with the Europeans when they came to colonize. But they don't argue with bullets, as we've seen. They argue with logic. When I say they don't argue with bullets, I mean they don't use bullets to argue. What I mean is they don't argue against bullets, they argue against logic. They argue against kindness sometimes. Well, these three began to outright really disrespect one teacher, and this teacher was ex-military, trained in martial arts and wilderness survival. African-American Muslim. And so these guys want to just really disrespect this man. They start calling him auntie and refer to him as she instead of he. And I told them, look, y'all are making this dude angry. And frankly, you're about to start getting your butts whipped. Because if y'all find each other one day outside of the university, inside the city, y'all going to be fighting. And he's going to win because he's trained for it. And the worst of the three stooges kept interrupting because Bedouins do that. No, Dr. Black. I'm trained. He's not. Nigga, what? He started training the year you were born. What are you talking about? So you'll see, doctor. I know who's weak and who's not. Oh, really? You just look at someone and tell? Man, if you don't get your little soft behind out of here, matter of fact, run up on him. Find him in the city one day, just run up on him. After had this conversation with him about 12. By 2 o'clock, he had hit this teacher with his car. He is a low-life rat bastard who cannot learn to stop. He cannot learn that he's wrong. He doesn't do things that are wrong even though they're wrong. He does them because they're wrong, and that's entertaining. But he can't learn that this is wrong so that he can stop. This is when people don't understand. Happens in other places at times. Why am I telling you this and taking 8 minutes to do it? I'm telling you this because the question now is, what do you have to do with these 3 kids to get them to cut this mess out? There's nothing you can do. It doesn't matter. There is nothing you can do short of waterboarding them. It takes either torture or death because they have that kind of personality. Most students now don't have that. This used to be a common personality about 3 years ago when I first got to this particular city, but nowadays they don't have that. So these 3 are remnants of a bygone age that ended about 2.5 years ago. These guys here have to either be exiled or tortured by waterboarding, maybe even a little fire, or they got to be killed. Nothing else is going to correct them. You cannot reason with them. If you tape their mouth shut, they would still keep on trying to talk and humming so that they don't have to listen to you. You're not going to get in their heads. You could beat them in the head with a bat, and you would get more results. They are pieces of human trash. Hitler got the wrong targets. If he had discriminated based on psychology, he would have started with himself. But he would have eventually gotten to these guys. It is the same thing when you were dealing with Sapphire. Sapphire is not going to stop. Now, the black woman is different, but Sapphire is one of the black women, and she's not going to quit. She's not going to change until she has been exhausted from raising somebody else's babies by herself, or exhausted from chasing after his money, or raising the baby by herself but with his money and still getting exhausted. Sapphire ain't gonna change until it's too late. These boys ain't gonna change till it's too late. It's gonna take a prison sentence. We know niggas on a block like that. They ain't gonna change till it's too late. They gotta sit in prison for a long time, and then they wind up praying next to me at some point. If I was back in the States, that's usually who I would wind up praying next to during the prayer times. Somebody that had to sit in prison for a long time. Assalamu alaikum. Sit in prison for a long time before they would finally accept that there's one God and he had a series of prophets of whom Muhammad was the last, and that there's a correct way for people to behave. And that being good is not corny. But their life has to be gone before they get to that damn point. And even if they get out, they got a record. They can't get no job. Now what? Instead of going to the church and begging, they got to go to the mosque and beg. I've seen this. Why not get it together when it is corny, but it's not too late? Why is it only not corny to get your stuff together when it's already too late? I don't care what the answer is. I really don't. Now, these three are going to have to be pushed away from us because they're three, and the rest of us ain't like that. They walked into one teacher's class to argue with him about why he marked another student absent. They had nothing to do with it. They did it because the teacher was smart. They thought they could scare him. No, they hit this teacher with a car because he's short. And they thought I was lying about what kind of training this man has. They're probably going to come in my classroom and be like, you niggas are in for a world of trouble. I heard about what you niggas did yesterday. Now get the hell out of my classroom. It's the same thing with Sapphire. The difference is that Sapphire makes up the majority in America and the UK. She's not just an outlier. She's everywhere. She's your aunt. She might be your mom, she might not. She may even be your grandma. Or your grandma might have been Sapphire, but now that she old and can't have no babies no more, and her titty sagging, she decided to change up. Whatever the case is, she's everywhere. She act like she got a ding-a-ling and two nuts attached. And she's not going to change till it's too late. You can't push Sapphire out. She outnumbers you. I know why a lot of black men wind up with the Sapphires. Let's call it what the hell it is. Sapphires by themselves, which are one kind of black American woman, are so much the majority that they alone outnumber black men in general, good, bad, and in between, all added up together, along with non-ADOS black men living in Canada and the U.S. And along with, you add up all the black men in the UK and maybe the same thing. Babatunde Umana could tell us about that, about the preference. But I know, stateside, most black men are going to come across a whole lot of ratchet boom shikas and sapphires with the attitude. And even when they ain't necessarily ghetto ratchet, they could be corporate ratchet. They still want that ratchet nigga, the itness. That's what's out there. You can't expel them because there's too many. It's much easier to move yourselves out of that equation. That's the easier thing to do. Get your passports and go, because they ain't never gonna change. If you want them to change when they're young and when they're attractive, then you're going to have to, the only way you could get them to do that is you would have to tie them up and torture them and waterboard them. I don't agree with stuff like that. You shouldn't have to do stuff like that anyway. That's more difficult than getting a passport and bouncing. They're that far gone. Just like the June bugs that we know. The black men that ain't shit, although they ain't the majority either. They ain't gonna change till it's too late, just like I got through talking about. When them niggas in there doing a long bid, then they'll change. Hell, they'll join me then. But before that point, no. And that's because it is in our culture, ingrained and upheld by the Sapphire, that it's corny and weak to be positive. So, that being said, let's go ahead and just focus on getting a passport. Assalamu alaikum, gentlemen. Let's focus on getting the passports and bouncing out and leaving them where they are. Because nothing else is going to change them. Except for, I mean this literally, nothing else will change them except it being too late. They're waiting for it to be too late to decide to change. You want to know what they're waiting on? That's it. They're waiting on the death sentence to come down on them to decide they're going to change, so that they don't have to actually be a good person for an indefinite length of time, an indeterminate length of time. Hope that what I'm saying won't be true in the future one day, but in the meantime, I hope it benefits. Blacks men on social media signing black off. Assalamu alaikum and black male power, just because they don't like it.